Good evening, parents. I hope all of you have had a restful weekend and are back for our math literacy night. I am a 5th grade teacher here at Del May, and I'm going to take a moment to talk to you a little bit about a strategy that we like to use with our 5th graders. This is actually a strategy you could use with any age student. It's called the 4-square problem solving, and it's a way for students to kind of pull out the important things in a math question. And so if you'll bear with me, this is Mr. Tuttle that's going to be helping me with the lesson today. This is something I think is user-friendly, so it's something that you parents could do at home with your students. So hello, Mr. Tuttle. How are we today? Good. So I've given you a dry erase marker and a eraser and a whiteboard that you're going to use today. You told me that you are frequently working out your problems. I think that's a great thing. So we're going to talk a little bit today about problem solving and how we do that. And if you take a look at the chart on the board, you see the first thing, of course, we have to know is what is it we're answering? What is the problem? And then we have to look at all of the information in the problem to figure out what we need to solve the problem. And you know, sometimes there's a lot of information in a question that you don't need and you just kind of have to leave out. And then we have to decide, what do we do with that information? Do we multiply it? Do we divide it? Do we add it or subtract it? And sometimes you have to do more than one thing, right? Because sometimes questions have multiple parts. And then finally, after you've done all that, then you can actually solve the equations and find a solution to a problem, okay? And so I'm going to give you a problem to do that with today. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to let you look at it. So the problem says Delaney and Ebony were braiding chains of gum wrappers. Delaney's chain was 7 inches long. Ebony's chain was 8 times longer than Delaney's chain. How long was Ebony's chain? So now let's think about that for a minute, and let's take our whiteboards and let's divide it. Doesn't matter which side you use. Let's divide it into our 4 squares. If your marker doesn't work, I can give you another one. Divide it into our 4 squares. So we know that that first square is to define the problem. So if we look at our question, it says, how long was Ebony's chain? So we want to write that in our first box. How long was Ebony's chain? So let's write that in our first box, because that is the question that we are answering. Okay? So if we look in the question, it doesn't tell us that how long her chain is, but it does tell us something about her chain, right? Good. It tells us, look on there, it says hers was 8 times longer than Delaney's. So that's something we need, right? So we know we're doing 8 times Delaney's. We know we need 8 times Delaney's, right? Do we know how long Delaney's is? Look at our question. Delaney and Ebony is there. Do we know how long Delaney's is?
7 inches.
All right. So we know that Delaney's is equal to 7 inches. Okay. Perfect. So we have our question. How long was Ebony's chain? We have the information that we need. Ebony's chain is 8 times Delaney's, and we know that Delaney's is 7 inches. So what would be an equation? What would be an equation for that, finding that problem?
8 times 7.
All right, so let's write that in our equation box, our third box. 8 times 7 is going to equal to Ebony's chain. So I just used the E, but you can use E. So 8 times 7 would equal the length of Ebony's chain. All right, so 8 times 7 is 56. So in our fourth block, we are going to answer the question. Ebony's chain is, and what answer did you get right there? 56 inches?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Ebony's chain is 56 inches. Perfect. We have done all 4 parts of our problem. We have identified the question. We have pulled out the information that we need to solve. We have created an equation, and we have answered our question. Okay? Nice job.